I don't know what emotionally intelligent gratitude would mean, if I was even close to it or not. What would you say to a listener who heard that and doesn't know what it means?
Yeah. So I should also clarify, emotionally intelligent gratitude practice is a concept that I have created. So this is proprietary to my program. But why I have clarified something and I've taken gratitude practice and infused a lot more science into the actual practice. So there's more intention to it. But one of the concerns with gratitude practice that I see for a lot of us is that it starts to border on good vibes only. And anyone who's listened to my podcast knows I am not a fan of that concept. The good vibes only concept is detrimental because what it is subconsciously telling us to do is to keep hustling harder and ignoring the stress, ignoring the fact that we're an absolute mess, ignoring the fact that our family is not perfect, that we actually feel terrible, we're anxious, we're stressed. So good vibes only is almost this concept of just ignore the bad. We're only going to focus on the good. And that's not true for everyone practicing gratitude, but it is very, very easy to start to lean to that corner of gratitude as though it is simply only focusing on the good in our life. Because if we're honest, we are terrified of acknowledging the fact that we're actually a hot mess. Clearly not the corner I stand in, as my podcast is quite literally titled Imperfectly Empowered. I'm all about the concept of embracing the mess. So where we incorporate emotionally intelligent gratitude practice is that in the actual practice of gratitude, before we are even diving into the very specific things that we are grateful for, we are first improving our emotional intelligence. Intellectual intelligence, we're familiar with, IQs. It is something that for the most part cannot be developed. You have a naturally given IQ. Obviously, circumstances can depress somebody's ability to fully live out or up to that IQ potential. But typically speaking, it does not change. Emotional intelligence is something that can be grown, developed, and worked on, and it has three components. It is, number one, being able to identify emotions. And this is where something as simple as an emotions wheel comes in. If you have a kid who struggles with behavioral issues or emotions, I have one of those kids. These emotion wheels come into play because you see like the little happy. Do you feel happy? Do you feel sad? Or there's like these wheels that I like that have all kinds of emotions described on them, which is really helpful because half the time we don't even know how to put the words to what we feel. You're like, I don't know, sad, where it might be more specific than that. So number one, emotional intelligence includes being able to identify what you're feeling. But number two is being able to communicate what you're feeling, which is an entirely different concept. So number one, being able to identify. Number two, being able to then communicate that, which is called emotional literacy. And then number three, this is truly where gratitude comes into play, being able to convert uncomfortable emotions, the emotions that we try to suppress and ignore and push down, being able to embrace them and then convert them into a positive or more comfortable experience. That is the most difficult part of emotional intelligence, but it is also where gratitude comes in, because what it's saying is basically it's me sitting at the restaurant and feeling really frustrated because my kids have effectively turned the table into a playground. I have 3 children. We're adopting our 4th. So we have 4 children within the ages of 10 to 5. And the restaurant table always very quickly becomes like an obstacle course for salt and pepper shakers and whatever. So it's me sitting at the table feeling very anxious because I still don't have a waitress coming to order my food or bring my food. My kids are frustrating me. I'm already exhausted. And in the moment, an emotionally intelligent person would sit there and recognize, one, I'm feeling frustrated and anxious because my kids are a hot mess in the restaurant and maybe I feel judged. Or maybe I'm just like, why did I even bring my kids out? So I'm recognizing that I'm frustrated and maybe even a little fearful of what people think of me and my family. So maybe anger and fear, 2 primary emotions. Communicating it would be recognizing that I need to not snap at my kids for being kids and needing to get energy out. Also not snapping at the waitress. So communicating with grace. Okay, I'm recognizing that I'm feeling these things. But then third is being able to take recognize and embrace those uncomfortable emotions and actually convert them into a positive experience. That would include me looking around and realizing, wow, they're probably significantly understaffed. That waitress to our table has gone to 4 other tables and is probably really behind. And wow, I'm so grateful that that is not my job. And I am really grateful for the fact that I can even sit here and somebody can bring me food as opposed to me having to labor for my food or maybe having no food at all. I'm grateful that my kids are energetic enough to be able to make a mess of this table because they're so well fed. And it's converting what started as an uncomfortable emotion, embracing it, recognizing that you feel it, but then being able to take it with gratitude, flip it, and actually feel thankful and at peace and maybe even happy that I have the blessing to be able to sit here and have food brought to me at some point.